Good evening, friends. Thank you for joining Candid Mina every evening to follow what's happening in India and abroad. And thank you for sending me your useful comments and suggestions. If you believe in this channel, do hit the like button, share with friends, and spread the message. Our only mission is to bring you the truth and both sides of the story. Thank you for your support. I'm just waiting for Lalit ji to join us. So let me just give him a quick reminder. Yeah. So, okay. So as we wait, let me just thank Sudha Barigat. Thank you for becoming a member. It means a lot to our channel and also the growth of this channel, which stands for truth. Good evening, Gloria. Thank you always for supporting us. So what I'd like to discuss are, there are 3 points that we'd like to discuss when Lalit comes. And that is, one is the controversy where Ajay Devgan says that Hindi is more important. And, I believe Lalit has also made a tweet in this regard, whether which language is important in India. And one thing we all know is that as Indians, each and every language in India is important. We cannot say one is more superior or the other is superior. So I think Lalit has joined me, so let me just add him. Welcome, Lalitji.
Namaskar, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think I need to
so,
come to the train. Yeah. Is it okay? Yeah.
Yes. So, Lalitji, I was just telling the viewers that there are 3 things that we'll discuss today. One is the remark made by Ajay Devgan about Hindi being important, and also what's happening in Patiala, and the last is the drug haul at Shaheenbagh. So we'll start with the first point, which is the controversial statements made by these 2 actors, one from the South and one from Bollywood, and discussion about languages. Now, Lalitji, as a journalist or as a patriot, I feel that every language in India is important and that no language has a heavier weight than the other. But it's always an advantage that when we speak one extra language, it helps us to a large extent. And I've
Yeah.
always found that knowing, as a South Indian, knowing Hindi and being able to speak Hindi gives me an added advantage. It makes me understand a lot of things. And that doesn't make Hindi superior. It only makes me stronger because I know one more language. Similarly, by watching a lot of these movies, whether it's Tamil or Telugu, we understand them. We understand Marathi. All this makes it our strength. So, as a patriot, I think it's important that each and every language should be revered and respected. Your take on that, Lizzie?
I think it's a very unfortunate incident. And I was supposed to be on a national channel yesterday on the same topic, but somehow they decided not to take me along because I wanted to subdue. I wanted to just close it before these
Yeah, they make
vultures
it a big issue. Yeah,
before these vultures, toolkitters,
yeah,
to find a chance in it. Yeah. And this must have been a very casual conversation. I think there's a
yeah,
problem with social media. People do not realize that you're on social media. There's a public watching you, and you have millions of followers, you're superstars, and people could pick anything out of it as a casual, conversation. And as far as these 2 stars are concerned, is like you said, you're a patriot. We don't even have to say we are patriot. We're Sanatanis. This is my country. Everything here, any cultural heritage, which language is a very important cultural heritage and very important for us. And every language is so beautiful. When I travel to South, and I personally have never felt any inconvenience because I don't know Southern languages. And I wish there was an opportunity for me when I'm in Bangalore, I am able to speak Kannada, and I go to Chennai, I'm able to speak Tamil, and but me, wherever my professional activities or my social this other activities have taken me along, I have never found any difficulty anywhere. I've spoken to common people, ordinary people, because I thought if I have to speak in English, the other person doesn't know English. If I have to speak in Hindi, it doesn't know Hindi either. So might as well converse in a language that I am also comfortable. So I have spoken to many people in the South in Hindi, and I have never realized that's anybody I'm putting off somebody. Don't know the language, don't know the language. But when you're communicating nationalism, you're communicating concern, then you don't need any language. And I'm proud of my languages. I wish I had that ability to learn the languages. And these guys, I have advised them. I tweeted about it yesterday. Please know that it is all over open in the public, and you please hold a joint press conference and say what you said in the last way. You're French, you never meant what you said. It was a very casual conversation. And also, see, Hindi is a communication language for many Indians, like North India. Like I'm a Kashmiri. Hindi is not my mother tongue, but I learned Hindi because the other option was Kashmiri is not taught in Kashmir. By the way, Omar Abdullah tried to jump into the guys. I said that there are vultures out there. They wanted to jump in, like Omar Abdullah tried to jump in. That there cannot be a official this national language of India. I asked him, like you are a Kashmiri, and Kashmiri has never been an official language of in Kashmir. So why should you be talking about something which has no relevance to you? They are talking very casually. So that's what I am very cautious about it. So we have Urdu in Jammu and Kashmir. It suppresses Dogra, very rich language. It suppresses Kashmiri language, one of the oldest languages we have in India. It suppresses that. It suppressed earlier the Ladakhi cultural heritage. So only thing, because Kashmir is a Muslim majority state, so Urdu must be a medium of communication. Like Pakistan has Urdu as their official language. And I do not want to impose any language anywhere in India. I'm sure over a period of time, we'll be so comfortable languages. I want in the North Indian states, when you have an option for Spanish, French, German language, in those schools, you have an option for Tamil, Kannada, Malayalam, Telugu, South Indian languages. So that's how you integrate through. And language is a very important element of integration. And let me also remind you, tell your readers, whenever you have a Bhojpuri film release in Kerala on Fridays, you will find equal rush for a Bhojpuri film as is for a local Malayalam film. And there has never been any controversy, because
Absolutely.
you have to understand, you have to agree that the Hindi-speaking citizenry of India, they are across India. You'll find a Bihari IPS officer, IS officer, Bihari construction worker, Bihari factory worker, right from Tamil Nadu to Kashmir, anywhere. I've seen them doing concreting in those freezing temperatures of Ladakh, -2, -3. Yeah. So there will be communication in there. Interestingly, in Chennai, I found one guy from Arunachal Pradesh, a worker, construction worker, and I was speaking to him in Hindi. I think he spoke Hindi better than anybody else. So we were in Tamil Nadu conversing in Hindi. A guy from far away, northeast, Arunachal Pradesh, a guy from Kashmir, they were talking in Hindi. So there is a language, and you see what the development is coming at a time when you have every film made in Mumbai, translated, dubbed in Hindi. Every film made in Hindi in Mumbai, dubbed in all regional languages, and it is released, right? Similarly, every film made in South, whether it's in Tamil, Kannada, Malayalam, anywhere, or Telugu, it is, before it is released, it's also dubbed in Hindi. And it's a contribution to the nation, because cinema is a very great binding factor amongst Indians. So I compliment that. At that time, at this moment, when this controversy rises, and this, I believe it was a very casual conversation, through you, if they were there, if you're able to reach to both these superstars, tell them to hold a joint press conference, tell them it was between us, two of us, we are friends, and we are film colleagues, and we have a right to have a conversation. I think their mistake was they held it on a public platform. That's it. So let's now, there's no polity on Hindi. We have gone through turbulent times on this language issue, and I think it is closed forever. And whoever is and by the way, some of the superstars of South became pan-India celebrities because they worked in Hindi film. It's also a fact. They became superstars. Some of the superstars of South are there equally or maybe even more popular in North because when they started working in Hindi. So I don't think there's any one language making it superior to another language. I don't think that should be an issue at all. We are proud of having some of the languages in India, which are some amongst the oldest in the world. Second man, yeah.
So Metal is saying that comment by Devgan made it on social media as breaking news. Interesting how occurrences happen only during their movie releases. Don't recall him celebrities like him showing any support for SSR. Now here, just a point from my side, Lalitji. When you're talking about this actor, what's his name? The South Indian actor, Sudeep. Yes, Sudeep, and you're talking about Ajay Devgan. For a
Hmm.
fact, we know that Sudeep loves to get attention, and he has been trying to form parties, and he's failed miserably. So this is just, I think, one more technique to catch the limelight. And in the case of Ajay Devgan, as Metal said very clearly, maybe his movie is out and he needs some attention. And also the fact that, see, Ajay Devgan toes the line of many people like Salman Khan. So there may be something more to it. But as you rightly said, it is better to flush it down the toilet because it's not important for patriots who know that each and every language in India is important for us, and each and every language is sweet in its own way. For example, I studied in Pune, and I remember one of the subjects was Marathi. And whenever I see a Marathi film, I'm able to understand it much better because I know the language and its sweetness. Similarly, Bengali movies, they are so sweet. Even though Pakistan is our enemy, I respect Urdu because the sweetness of Urdu, has such a beauty to it. I mean, just because the country is an enemy doesn't mean that we look down upon a language. Languages are created.
Originated in India. Urdu is born in India. Yeah.
Yes,
Dr. Rahim Masoom Raza, he had
yeah,
advocated popularity of Urdu by making the script, Devanagari script for Urdu.
absolutely.
Because it's a lovely language. It's originated. How can you hate it just because Pakistan made it their language? It's India, but there is a historical context to it. But yet, nevertheless, it's born in India, and India it has received promotion. All literally works in Urdu are happening in India, not in Pakistan.
Yeah. And also, we should also bear in mind, viewers, that each time we watch a movie in any different language, it helps us to learn the language. And that makes us better. You know,
Yes.
it's wealth. It's like accumulating money. It is wealth. The more you learn, the better you are to understand different cultures. You know, it's like traveling.
Hmm.
So let's put a stop to that and go to the next topic, and that is
I just,
the
just, just,
revolution.
just, just for
Yes,
everybody
please.
who gets
Yeah.
provoked on little things, my message to them would be, who was this from Kerala,
Hmm.
the guy who got this Oscar for sound engineering. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I know. I'm
uh,
forgetting his name. Yeah,
mm,
I think our
I
readers,
think I just not
viewers
coming
will
to
tell
mind.
us. Yeah,
Rasul.
Rasul. Yes, Pukuti.
Uh,
Rasul Pukuti.
when he received his this Oscar, he dedicated to his country. He said, "I dedicate to my country, India, which has given to the world the most beautiful sound."
Yeah.
Om.
Yes.
That's
Absolutely.
that's that's what nationalism, that's what Sanatan civilization is all about, and we need to be
Yes.
proud of our languages, dialects, everything that belongs to India. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So moving to the next point, the next piece of news is that the revelations that were made about AAP's Khalistani plans before the assembly elections, now are they turning to be true? There is a complete breakdown of law and order in Patiala, along with the Punjab power cuts. As Khalistani mobs go on rampage, Punjab police blame those taking out Khalistan Murdabad march, say they had no permission. After clashes occurred on Friday between a Khalistani mob and members of a Hindu organization outside the sacred Ma Kali temple in Punjab's Patiala, Punjab police announced that they are discussing with Shiv Sena state president Harish Singla since a march was not authorized. And DSP Patiala has further stated that looking at the situation in the area, heavy police forces have been deployed in the locality. Harish Sangla, the Punjab working head of Shiv Sena, Bal Thackeray, spoke to media about the conflicts between Khalistani extremists and Hindus. Sangla stated that his party organized a Khalistan Murdabad march to condemn a small group of Khalistan followers who harbored separatist sentiments. What is happening here, Lalitji?
Uh, I hope I hope this is not an symptom of something worse uh, brewing in Punjab, because even at the peak of Khalistani terror movement in late 80s and early 90s, in 80s and early 90s, there was never a scuffle between Hindus and Sikhs in Punjab. There was never ever a group of non-Hindus, so-called Sikhs, in the street raising slogans either against India or against Hindus. Hindus were targeted in buses, selectively killed, but then more than Hindus, the Sikhs fell to Khalistani terror in Punjab. That's the history. Because I know some of the people who were resisting this Khalistani movement who happened to be Sikhs, and they fought with bare 303 rifles from their terraces, because the terrorists were so overwhelmingly present across Punjab villages that it was not possible for the state police to provide protection to everybody. So everybody would do it on their own. So they have fought pitch battles from their terraces, from their chat, against the terrorists who were fighting with AK-47 rifles. So if this is happening, and there were rumors that this Aam Aadmi Party, like when they take support of those people which have ideology which is not conducive to the national spirit, right? So maybe this guy, I wouldn't call them separatists, I wouldn't call them even anti-national elements. Disgruntled elements in the society is always believed that they go and support Aam Aadmi Party, for example, be it in Delhi, be in Punjab. So it's not to suggest that they are everywhere else. There are people who are convinced with their policies and polity. Like Delhi is dominated by wealthy people, or some of the best, some of the most wealthy people in India. Even they voted for this guy called this Aam Aadmi Party, because they showed them free electricity and free water, right? So it's not to suggest that their party is based on radicalism and all that. But there are reports that they have sympathizers among relegated elements, and we've seen that. When you talk about CAA, I have personally spoken against it. Some of my speeches have gone viral on this issue, and Kejriwal's, when he spoke about it at Shaheenbagh, and he said, "Ab kya hum Pakistaniyon ko Hindustan ke andar naukri denge? Now are we going to provide jobs to Pakistanis in India?" So who was he referring to? Hindus and Sikhs, who we abandoned. I say we committed a sin in 1947, knowing that Pakistan was created only and only for Muslims of India, and Muslims of India created it because they had that hatred for Hindus, they had hatred for the Indian nation. So they betrayed their motherland on the 14th of August 1947 and created a geopolitical entity called Pakistan in the name of two-nation theory, which is nothing like supremacy and incompatibility of Islam. So knowing this, we left those poor Hindus and Sikhs to the mercy of Pakistani jihadis. And now it was easier for them to convert. So I compliment them. I unko naman karta hu. I bow to them because they have continued to be Hindus. And those amongst them who were helpless over these 70 years, they either left, they either died, or they converted. So you had 25% population, and now it reduced to 2.5% in Pakistan and 8% in Bangladesh. So about them, when CAA is brought, only to grant them right to life and dignity, they write on this motherland. I say these Hindus and Sikhs we have been to Pakistani jihadis in 1947 have equal right on this motherland, because you didn't ask them whether they would like to stay there or here, whether they were for part. They wouldn't be. They wouldn't have been for Pakistan. So they're poor people. So if you want to grant them that right, and what do? You strengthen the narrative of Islam. It's a Shaheenbagh. This Kejriwal says, are we going to provide jobs to Pakistanis now? That is what makes him so close to that kind of mentality, which spewed venom during those Shaheenbagh days for over a year, right? And they keep on threatening you that we'll create more Shaheenbaghs across India. So that is one. Second, when in the Legislature Assembly of Delhi, when he called Kashmir Files, the film Kashmir Files, duty film, a lie, and his co-members in the assembly, and they were laughing to the extent that you could count their 32 teeth, and amongst them were women. So I also spoke about it on public platforms. What were they laughing at? Rape and gang rape and murder of Girija Tikku, who was slaughtered on a saw machine. So that what makes him a suspect. And of course, he betrays every time he opens his mouth. He betrays his liking for these regressive elements, and of course, electoral calculations is the target. And no wonder what you see in Punjab, and I hope it is crushed, because Punjab has suffered a lot, and Punjab has gone through wherever Macaulay had left the Indian dirty politics, took the division between Sikhs and Sikhs, and division between Sikhs and Hindus. To a great extent, it was because of Indian polity. The rivalry between Akalis and Congress is because what Punjab suffered generally. Now everybody wants to carry it forward. And I know there was a time when Punjab was not Sikh and Hindu. It was Sikh and Mona. Mona means either you have a kesh, you are a Sikh with here, or you don't have, you are a shaved Sikh. That was the only definition of Punjabis once upon a time. And even as I said, at the peak of Khalistani movement, there was never, ever any face-to-face confrontation between Hindus and Sikhs. And as I said, Sikhs died, more blood was shed by Sikhs against Khalistanis. And Hindus, of course, were targeted as Hindus, as a selective community. But resistance was also by Sikhs there. So if this is wrong, I hope and pray they do it, because Punjab is a test for Aam Aadmi Party. It was easy to carry forward in Delhi. You can do anything and you can get away with it. Punjab is a complex state in the sense that Punjab is a bordering state, and Punjabi's valor, Punjabi's patriotism can never be questioned. And Punjab, as I said, has given us gurus, the Sikh Panth, that I call is a continuity of Sanatan Dharma, Sanatan civilizational ethos. And I am very confident they will not let it go beyond what has been seen today in Patiala. It's very dangerous. It's very sad. I also saw some political parties of opposition parties on some television channels today talking in unison, outrightly rejecting. There was no whataboutery about it today. Unlike other debates on Punjab, I could find no whataboutery. They were taking, everybody was pointing fingers at AAP. And I hope they take the message, because AAP sure is also having patriots in their cadre, and I'm sure they're going to take cognizance of it. India can't afford a turmoil coming back to Punjab. We can't afford it. We have, as it is, the war of Kashmir on hand, war of growing Islamist vociferousness across India. We can't afford ISI succeed in Punjab again.
Maya says, Shiv Sena of Maharashtra wants to wade into Punjab for Hindutva when they are killing it in Maharashtra, or is this Sena a different one?
There are so many Senas across, but the Hindu Hridaya Samrat, Balasaheb Thackeray, right? So even his own Sena does not appear to be following his ideals, political ideals. He was very, very, very categorical about many political issues, and there are records. Like, for example, he said, I will never have anything to do with the Congress party. No, things have changed, things are evolving, politics is evolving. And what's happening in Maharashtra, there are many Sainiks who do not approve of what you see on what you hear from what's happening under the present government in Maharashtra. And you saw how they treated Arnab Goswami, the leading journalist of India, right? That time we had to intervene, and now the member of parliament, another MLA, her husband MLA, they are facing the same music. But then the trust Maharashtrians, Marathas, how they are handling the situation. Unlike West Bengal, like when West Bengal after the elections, how those people who voted for BJP, they were persecuted, and how they had to flee their homes in herds, and everybody was watching. Even BJP was sitting idle. I have been blaming them. I still blame them. They remain like coward spectators. They didn't do anything for their electorate, including the 77 MLAs who were elected there. 38% of electorate of West Bengal voted for BJP, and they just went into hibernation because they were told that you're lost. Media built that narrative that BJP has lost badly in Punjab, this West Bengal, and they lost. They went into that recoil and they do nothing there. But in Maharashtra, the BJP activists, the BJP cadre, general Marathis, irrespective of their political affiliation, they know Maharashtra continues to be the crown of India. Mumbai continues to be proud of India. That's a mini and great India you see in Mumbai, right? So I don't think it's going to remain for long. And if anybody is any claiming affiliations to Shiv Sena or Bal Thackeray, I'll be worried about it. Because Bal Thackeray would not go in for, because he was a very big votary of Hindu Sikh, unity at any time. At any time. So I don't think it should be there, Balasaheb Thakuray's party. But politically speaking, you never know. These parties or the parties are changing colors because of electoral reasons. And I see nobody's electoral interest by dividing Hindus and Sikhs in Punjab. It doesn't help anybody electorally. So I hope it is one off and it will be crushed. And it's also a responsibility on my home minister in Delhi. I hope they don't leave it to the typical federal initiative, because India is a federal state, so Delhi cannot be interfering. I think they have a right to see that social harmony of Punjab is not anyway, hampered or disrupted by subversion. And I can assure you, what all is happening there must be ISI hand in that.
Moving to the next topic is that the NCB Delhi seized 100 kilos of high quality heroin, narcotics, and a lot of drug money in cash from Shaheenbagh. The contraband was stored in travel bags, backpacks, and jute sacks. The Gujarat police were the first ones to alert the NCB. The seized heroin originated from Afghanistan, and the drug money was suspected to be channeled through Hawala. The seized heroin was packed in the packaging of Flipkart. One Indian national has been charged in the case. The syndicates have been smuggling goods to India through maritime as well as land border routes, wherein heroin was smuggled in alongside various legitimate goods. Heroin was later extracted from those goods by the Indian counterparts with the help of some Afghan nationals. Now, Lalitji, what I want to ask you is that how is it so easy to bring these things into Shaheenbagh? Is Shaheenbagh another Pakistan, that it is immune to any sort of investigation? Or yesterday I was watching a Muslim man speak about Shaheenbagh, when the reporter asked him, what if you were in UP? And he said, don't you know, this is Shaheenbagh. He kept repeating, this is Shaheenbagh, meaning that you can't do a thing in Shaheenbagh.
Yeah, this is because, as I said, appeasement electoral policy of India that is allowing this kind of vociferousness grow in India. Especially this, we have no other vociferousness. It's only pan-Islamism inspired vociferousness that continues to survive and flourish and thrive in India.
That's also they're getting a cut in the drug money.
Everything. No, I will come to the drug. Just give the background of this kind of supremacy, this attitude of supremacy, as if they own it, because they also claim, that we ruled over you for 700 years. It's this kind of element, whom I call they are progenies of Babar and Khiljis and Abdalis. And they are the people who are claiming still there, and they have this agenda. They will not be dividing this India anymore to claim another Pakistan. The agenda is to have Darul Islam right here on this Indian territory. That's the agenda. That's what they are targeting at, and we have to be very, very careful about it. And then enclaves like Shaheenbagh, this is ghettoized colonies of Muslims, predominantly Muslim, and you see it everywhere. Like you saw on the during those Ram Navami procession, or that Bajrang Bali Hanuman processions. The complaint is, how dare you enter Muslim dominated area? How dare you pass by a mosque, right? Which I always tell them, 1947, 46, 47 was to give a land of Pakistan, right? You wanted a territorial dominance, you got Pakistan. Don't expect that every kocha, every mahalla, every Muslim dominant ghetto in India is a Pakistan for you. And that supremacy and exclusivity has to be demolished, not encouraged, like you saw being encouraged by every political party. Every political party in India supported and spoke at Shaheenbagh. And that gave them that kind of confidence. And the left liberal media was covering it, right? So how it was, he went around the way. Of course, it was based on a toolkit sponsored from abroad. But don't forget, every toolkit has or originates from India. Every anti-Hindu, anti-India propaganda originates from India. It's only influenced further, amplified further abroad. So toolkit is authored in India, is again further propagated across the world. So to demonize Hindus and to defame India. So Shaheenbagh was a test, but I don't know why was it allowed to be there. Thank God you had COVID, so they had to be. They went. Most of them went on their own. Although I can't imagine what would have been the condition of India. They held not only Delhi to hostage, India was held hostage at Shaheenbagh.
Yeah.
And and this person, today I saw somebody else, coming back to your observation of this narcotics hall in Shaheenbagh. There was another Muslim leader on one of the channels. I saw him today in the evening. He was claiming altogether. He says there was no raid in Shaheenbagh. No drugs were captured there. He says, I can take it for granted. Trust me, he said. Then the anchor who tell him, and the other guy was telling you, go to the court, make a charge against the Delhi police, that they are lying. And this is the kind of propaganda they spread. Now the news will be across the world that it was a deliberate move by the Hindu Indian national government to demonize Muslims of Shaheenbagh, that they planted drugs there and they were shown to be have been hauled there. So drugs have been found across India. Drugs have been sold across India. India has been on that golden crescent for a long time, right? For local consumption and also for a passage to other countries. So, and it's they could be found, anybody from any religion could be found dealing in drugs. We know that. But why is it found the Shaheenbagh? Because if you have the tendency, what drug mafia, for example, every jihad activity is like any enterprise, right? So for that you need men, material is guns, right? Then you need radicalization, right? You also need to have money. How do you run this whole setup? So drugs, money has been known to be used for the terror activities. This is a known fact. So if it has been found when it has been done in Shaheenbagh, and the two of the peddlers are supposed to be Afghans, and Afghans have been caught earlier also dealing in drugs, along with their Indian Indian collaborators, Indian partners, who need not necessarily be Muslim. They could be from any faith. But what is worrisome is, as you also said, somebody was saying, how dare you enter Shaheenbagh? This is Shaheenbagh. Is Shaheenbagh considered to be now a safe haven for anti-India activities, which include drug peddling, storage of drugs, which could eventually be used against India in terms of financing of terror? Don't forget, there's a strict control for official channels of financing of terror from abroad. There were various channels. Those to great extent, those channels have been closed. They have been plugged. So this could be a new method of financing. I'm not sure whether it is actually related to terror, but since these two things, it could be coincidence, right? So they are in a Muslim-dominated area, who the residents claim is, you dare not enter here. So the drug smugglers find it convenient to be there, safe place for them. And also we have heard what CAA was all about. It was anti-Hindu. They use F word for our swastika. It originated there. They use F word for Brahmins. And when you do Brahmins, you're only doing it to the Hindus of India. So it's just to divide the Hindus in communities, because they were also carrying Ambedkar's portrait there, without realizing what Ambedkar had to say about Islamism. I think no Indian leader would ever dare speak so truthful about Islamism, the menace of Islamism, as Dr. Ambedkar has said. So, knowing all the background of Shaheenbagh, and I think we need to closely watch it. If there is a link between Taliban or the sources of other terror organization in Afghanistan, and they have these collaborators working in India, because it would not be restricted to the money would be distributed across India. And I'm also told, we also get reports, the jihadis in Kashmir are feeling being starved of money. And when you run these organizations across India, for example, Shaheenbagh, how was it funded?
Yeah.
It ran for about they were served chicken there also. They were served biryani there. Who was financing it and how much? And so even dry fruit was being served there. So and we also had report that people were being paid money for sitting there in shift. They were paid money shift wise. So how much money and where did it come from? Since the foreign channels have been plugged, and if this is another way to finance such anti-national activities in India, in other parts of India, because as I said, they are finding reasons, the ways to demonize Hindus, and I'm sure Indian state is watching it, because subversion is on peak. It is at its peak in India.
Maya is asking you. Let me just go to uh, question 1 second. Hold on. Yeah. Maya is asking you, is this drug haul in Shaheen Bagh connected with the arrest of Al Qaeda handler from Assam, Bengangno? This handler came from Bangladesh through West Bengal to Deoband and then settled in Assam, started radicalizing.
This is what I'm worried about. As I said, Indian government has done a lot in the past. But I've been part of some anti-terror platforms, have been participating in seminars, even anchored certain programs. So we get to know across the world. India is collaborating with many world, including countries in Middle East, to plug these terror funding channels, right? So India has achieved a great progress in that. Therefore, is this another way? Because you don't need to physically transfer drugs now. There are many other ways of doing it.
Yes.
We have heard they are doing it in
Darknet as well.
Punjab. They're using drones in Punjab. They are dropping
And
money
also
up
dark web.
from drones. They are dropping
Dark web as well.
ammunition. They are dropping drugs there. So if this is where you drop it in Punjab and straight away take to Shaheenbagh, and then your collaborator somewhere sitting in Assam who has links in Bangladesh, don't forget. I don't know whether I've said it here. I want RAW to be keeping a watch on growing and extreme Islamist tendencies in Bangladesh. We badly failed when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was assassinated, right? And present government is India friendly because they are secular. She is this Hasina Wajid. She's a secular prime minister. She is trying to control, but the extreme Islamism is at its worst. They keep showing their ugly faces anytime. It happened on Ram Navami. They targeted that ISKCON temple in Bangladesh, and they keep on targeting Hindus and also liberal, the modern, the progressive Muslim bloggers, especially. There's a culture of bloggers in Bangladesh who keep speaking against Islamism, and they have been targeted. So we need to be very, very careful about the growing tendencies, and they have been operating in India. In fact, your Bangalore has been once targeted by the Bangladesh-based Islamist organizations. They were involved in some kind. I'm not able to recall the time and the year, but they were found in Bangladesh, involved in Bangalore. So we have to be very, very careful about it, and this nexus has to be broken, because if it has begun, it will not be limited to what you see on the eastern shore. I'm sure the vulnerabilities of our western shores also, and as I said, even Karnataka, your coastal areas are very vulnerable, and we need to take these very, very seriously.
Yeah. True Indian is asking you. Great. Modi ji has called on meeting all Sikhs to his residence to resolve the conflict with Sena in Punjab. Sir, your views, please.
See, good. I'm glad that this has been taken up today. Is it a coincidence that at a time when Narendra Modi is addressing global Sikhs from across the world, right? And the right, whatever this confrontation takes place between Hindus and Sikhs in Patiala. I don't think it's a coincidence. As I said, ISI will be very, very closely involved in what happened in Patiala today. And I don't know which group and which part has been financed by whom. I think this is not sudden. This is not this is not a coincidence, because it happens when Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, is trying to reach out to the Sikhs, because he also says that it's a Sanatan civilization I'm addressing. You are the true representatives of India. You are India abroad. That kind of thing is happening, and I could see the affection oozing on from the faces of the Sikhs. They were sitting on the television frames. Yeah, so I think there is a connection to only to disrupt the harmony, and to create that kind of disharmony between Sikhs and with the rest of them. But it is not going to happen. And I find this Prime Minister, as I said, I am the biggest supporter of Narendra Modi. I am also happen to be the biggest critic of Narendra Modi, because he's my Prime Minister. I criticize him because my criticism
So that's
is
important.
creative criticism. I want
Yes.
Narendra Modi and his kind
No,
of
so this
thinking
is the
Sanatan
has to be
civilization
taken in the
at the
right
helm
spirit.
of India's affairs for next 100 years. So Narendra Modi has to be there, his ideology for next 100 years. When he's addressing Sikhs, you will what you will only miss there in his address when he's addressing Sikhs is the politics. He speaks from heart. I address Sikhs like that. I address any Indian is the same way. So that kind of interaction is happening, and you trigger this kind of skirmish in Patiala, which has never ever happened in Punjab, even at the peak of Khalistani movement, so-called terror movement in Punjab. So I see there is a connection, and I say I hope the Home Ministry does not leave it to the Ministry of Punjab only. Home Ministry of Punjab to take care of it. I'm sure Government of India should take cognizance of it. I'm sure there must be a ways to intervene and do it at whatever level they have to do. They must know it before we have another problem in Punjab. Yes, I agree. It's a very good question.
Yeah. Also, Maya is asking, today saw a video of Shaheenbagh encroachers remove stuff on their own, fearing bulldozers, as said openly on camera. So, fear of law enforcement can act as a deterrent to prevent such illegal settlers.
Very true. I say if the governments want, there will never be ever a right in anywhere in India. How dare they target a Hindu procession? How dare they target Hanuman Yatra? And when I repeat, they are not targeting the people processionists. They are targeting Ram. They are targeting Bajrang Bali. How dare they do it? So I think it's being very explicitly being exhibited. The governors in Uttar Pradesh, he's doing it. Not one, not there has been no disruption of the action taken by the government of Uttar Pradesh in removing or checking or controlling this menace of loudspeakers. He's doing it, and everybody's with him. Unlike what you saw, what they did in Jaipur today, they just try to show that we are more closer to Muslims by putting up loudspeakers across Jaipur. I'm sure the Pakistanis must have heard the Azan and Namaz from Jaipur, because there were so many loudspeakers, I'm told, they put up there. Who are they going to reach out to? I don't know whether Allah is appreciating it, what you're trying to do, we're trying to do it. But the government, it's not I repeat, this is not the Muslims of Jaipur would have wanted it. This is the dirty politics that's ruling, political party that's ruling Rajasthan, to show their masters in Delhi that see how we are appeasing Muslims, and also the local electorates are how we are trying to appease you. So
Yeah.
Modi, this yogi is not doing that. And uh, if you apply law, there has to law is for this only. Law is a deterrent. If you tell them you have encroached, you have done something unlawful, why should they not obey the law? And when you have these tendencies to claim on television that how dare you enter this Shaheenbagh, this supremacy has to be dismantled, and can be only through law, and you are through implementation of law, to the right implementation of law. I think what you see today, if some people are withdrawing on their own, I think it's good for them. There should be, if there. I also say that when this film stars of Bombay, Khan said, one said that my wife is saying is getting a bit messy here, we should leave this place. So he was getting scared of when Narendra Modi took over 2014. Other Khan said, oh, I think not a good time to stay anymore in India. Then you had another guy, other star saying, oh, I fear for my family, right? So it said that if you're afraid of the change that is coming in India, you better be afraid. Because you
Yes.
are influencing poor Muslims, because jihadis do not come from rich families of Muslims in India, right? Is the children of downtown Muslim poor families who succumb to this jihadi indoctrination and incitement, and they felt this. They fall to this. Stars will always remain stars, so then nothing will happen to them. But it's only the poor people. So if you control them, if they're scared, it's good for them. Let them be scared of the law, not of me, not of Yogi, but the law. That is, they always say that, no, they're born within the nation is only through Constitution of India, right? It's like Nikanama they have in India. I repeat, this is a Nikanama. So abide by that. Abide by that. Abide by that.
Meera is asking you, do you see Khalistani activism rising with AAP in Punjab?
They will try their best, but I can assure you, the valiant Punjabis will not allow it to happen. They have suffered so much. I repeat, they have suffered so much, and I'm sure Sikhs and Monas, the Punjabiyat, Punjabi culture, will not will deny them this privilege, because if they think they got a supportive government, what everybody has in mind, I'm sure the people of Punjab will deny them that privilege, deny them that opportunity to break the harmony in Punjab.
Absolutely. I think with that, we can end this session. Thank you so much, Lalitji, for your time, as well as clearly explaining what is happening both in Punjab and in Shaheenbagh, and also the stupid controversy made by these film actors, which is actually amounting to nothing, because Indians know very well that each and every language in India has to be respected and has its own sweetness.
Yes,
Thank you and good night.
my privilege. Good night. Stay safe, all of you. God bless.